Oh my gosh, can you believe we made it? We made it. Oh, I'm so happy to jump on here. I have been having such a relaxing break. I've been spending so much good time with friends and family and all the good stuff, right? And a new puppy, and just wanted to pop on here. Really, I have a really fun video that I want to make today talking about the 20 things that I've learned in 2020. So we got a whole list here. Get ready. But I thought I'd do something really fun to reflect. And if you know me at all, you know that I really love reflecting, and I really love being able to have that time to just sink in and zoom out of life and be able to just assess, okay, where am I at? Where am I going? Where are things, how are things evolving? How can I continue to show up better? How can I continue to just co-create this beautiful journey of life, right? And that's really the beautiful part for me, I think, about being alive, is the fact that we get to really co-create this life that we want to live in. We are not reactive, we are not victims, we are active participants in our life. And every year, especially, both at my birthday and the new year, I love to take time to just reflect, as I know many of you do as well. So I wanted to share my reflections. I would love to hear if any of these hit home for you, if these are things that you've also thought about, or have been true lessons that you've learned from this year as well, and really just take with it what we want as we go into setting new intentions for this year. So with that, let's get started. So number one is really learning the true meaning of surrender. And I think, oh, hi Fato, so good to see you on here. Yeah, really understanding the true meaning of surrender. And I think that this has been one that I didn't really understand what it meant to really surrender in the past. And I think that this has been kind of a theme for a lot of people this year. I've heard a lot of women being like, I'm really trying to figure out how to just surrender, right? And I think 2020 for me, it started off with, we were in Bali, living in Bali, and then the COVID pandemic hit, and it was just kind of all the plans that we had for continuing our travel lifestyle, for continuing to just do everything we had been planning from my mind went out the window. And I really, in that moment, for the first time, just free falled. I just let go of all expectations, and I truly just decided to just trust what was needing to come forward. And what was coming forward was, I need to leave behind my entire life as I know it and go back to the United States and start a whole nother life there. And it was terrifying because we weren't really sure how that was really going to unfold. And there were several moments throughout this last year where I was really up against the wall of needing to just truly free fall. Just truly, everything that my mind was trying to control and move forward on, I had to really let go of and trust and know, I am divinely supported and I can't know what is best in store for me, but I just have to trust my gut here. And it was always coming back to the gut, not the mind, not being okay, I want it to go like this, right? But really trusting, I think we need to go do this. And this is feeling right to me. This is feeling better to me. And it has. It's really led me down the path of least resistance, coming back home to the heart, coming back, trusting the intuition and the gut, and knowing that that is always the path of my highest self. So really surrendering from the mind control and trusting the heart has been probably the biggest lesson I've learned from 2020. And I wrote here to surrender, the true meaning of surrender means to stare your biggest fear in the face and lean into it with faith enough to release the outcome. That's really what it felt like to me. It was like leaning into the fear of the unknown, the huge unknown, and then trusting and having enough faith that I don't need to know the outcome, but I'm still going to lean into it. And then letting that free fall happen and knowing that I'm going to be caught on the other side. And flying from Bali to the United States, literally around the world in the middle of the pandemic, that was the biggest leap of faith of my life, because here I was thinking that this pandemic was killing every single person on the planet. And I was I'm going to get on a plane and go fly for all these countries. And whew, I'm here today and I'm alive and I'm healthy and I'm so grateful. And that was a huge leap of faith. Number two, when life doesn't go the way you think or plan, it's because life has something better in store for you. And this too kind of goes along with it. Hi, Sandy. Really goes along with it, of recognizing that we can try and with our little human brains control our life the way we want it to, but life has bigger things in store for us. And this comes back to this essence and element of faith. And I think for me, this last year has really brought me just so much more home to this concept of faith, of knowing that, without it being anything religious, just really knowing that we are so spiritually connected, and there is something so much bigger than our little human selves out there that is supporting us, guiding us, and loving us through these journeys and through these experiences. And so we don't have to control it. We don't have to rationally logic it with our brain. We just need to be tuned into the heart. And if things aren't going our way, it's because there's something else coming for us that's better. So example for this was, we were supposed to have a house sitting gig for later last year in Canada. And we were going to be house sitting for this beautiful couple in Canada for 6 months. And then it was one of these things where the deadline was approaching to get there, and the borders were closed for the United States. And so every month we're getting closer. We're supposed to be going to Canada, and we physically can't get there because of the borders being closed. And so our life as we had planned wasn't working out, and we kept trying to think about, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, are we supposed to keep trying to go with this plan that we'd put forward, or are we supposed to just let go and trust something else? And finally we got to the point of realizing we can't control when they're going to open the borders to Canada, so we need to just surrender once again and let life carry us another way. And life carried us to Portland, and life carried us into this gorgeous 29th floor penthouse apartment and a puppy and planning a wedding. And it's just been such a beautiful flow that would have been a lot harder for us to achieve if we had been still out trying to get to Canada and house sit. And it would have prolonged this whole next chapter that we're really getting to step into right now, which is so beautiful. So that was a really beautiful lesson as well. Number 3, this is one for me specifically. You don't have to agree with this for yourself, but in my eyes, I really came to understand that there is a God essence out there. And that was something that I've really, really been playing with a lot, is building up my connection to God, universe, source energy. And I've been reading the Course in Miracles. If you haven't read that book, if that's something that's been called to you and you feel inspired, I highly recommend reading it. It's a dense book, but it is it's really eye-opening in just being able to detach once again from this seat of the mind and really tapping back into more of the God essence within all of us. Number 4, there is no greater joy than the intimate bond that comes from a puppy sucking on your finger and staring into your eyes with love. This one is just wow. It's been so long since I've had a puppy and puppy energy in my life, and it has just truly been so radiant and just heartwarming to have a puppy in my life again. And for any of you that are feeling a little lonely or feeling like you want some more like just loving energy in your life, I highly recommend getting a puppy as a companion. I mean, they're a ton of work, but seriously, we've been having these little snuggle sessions where he just like lays in the nook of my arm and just like looks up at me like a baby and just sucks on my finger, and it's evoking all the mama feelings in me. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine what it feels like to actually have a real baby, but to have a little puppy baby has just been so beautiful. Number 5. These are all kind of similar themes here, but we are so divinely supported, even when it doesn't feel like it. And this, like I said, goes kind of in line with this idea and this concept of surrender. And hi, Carly, good to see you too. Feeling so divinely supported. If you really knew that you were so supported, without even being able to see it or feel it, you could just know and sense it, that no matter what decision you made, as long as you were trusting your gut, you were divinely supported. Just imagine how much more relief, how much more satisfaction, how much more trust, how much more ease, how much more joy that you could really feel in your everyday experience. This is something I've been feeling into so much. And I remember I was in Bend, Oregon back in April, and we were staying in this little place in the trees, and every day I would walk out to the trees and I would just bury my head into these sugar pines and just smell the trees, and they just smelled like rich, warm sugar. And it was really in this moment where I was just feeling so connected to the earth and so connected to these trees, and realizing these trees have been here for centuries, right? They have been here, they're connected to Mama Earth. They don't worry about when they're gonna get their next flow of nutrients, or when the sun's going to come out again, or if they're going to be alive a year from now. They just be in this majesty, in this presence, and they just know that they are divinely supported and that they're going to always have the nutrients and everything that they need to be able to thrive and adapt. And if something crazy catastrophic happens, they evolve and they grow and they shift. And it was really a lesson from these trees that reminded me that I am no different than that. We are all no different than that, and we are so supported. And so it's the fear from the mind that makes us different than the trees. The trees don't have fear, or so we think. They don't attach to fear like our mind attaches to fear. And so when we let fear be the consumer of our everyday thoughts and experiences, that's when we get out of alignment, and that's when we get out of this place of just flow and being in our highest aligned essence, because we're not in our highest essence. We're not connected to the heart, we're connected to the mind. And that's not going to be allowing us to feel all the support that is there for us. So when we can come back to this reminder that I am so divinely supported, I am so divinely supported, just notice how you feel when you really allow yourself to sink into that knowing, and watch truly how you see that unfold in your life. And that's what I've been really seeing every step of the way as I keep leaning into these new experiences, and I keep leaning into these crazy unknowns and these very scary moments for my life too. And then just watching it unfold so beautifully in the back end. Number 6. Well, this one is just, I'm not going to iterate on it too much because I just did, but fear truly is an illusion. Fear is an illusion. And this is something I talk about in depth with my clients. This is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is helping them to move through their fears and to see their fears for what they truly are, which are illusions. They can come off as being very real feeling. And a lot of times fear is very tricky because it will pull from past experiences to make you think that they are true and remind you, see, this happened and that happened and it's going to happen again. But you get to be in the driver's seat here, and you do not need to listen to the fears. And the more that we lean into staring those fears in the face and slashing through them and taking away their power, then we suck out all that energy, and we can move forward with light and strength and power. And it's incredible to see how much I've been able to hold space for my clients to do that this year especially, and just slay through fear. And I've been talking a ton about fear this year, and I just feel like I feel almost like invincible in a sense. I'm going to knock on wood on that part because I know I'm not invincible, but it's just an invincible feeling. It's a very empowering feeling when you know that no fear can get in your way. No fear is going to hold you back. No fear is going to keep you from living the God-given rights that you deserve to have every single day. So that is a big one that I want to just remind each of you of as well. Number 7, everything that we've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And this is a really, really big one too, right? Because when we slay through those fears, that's when we're able to receive. That's when we're really able to step into that place of having all the beauty that we've been afraid of having. And so being able to know that if we can just get through this illusion, right, this veil of illusion, we can have everything that we want. And that it's usually our biggest fears that are keeping us from the biggest things that we want. So if you know that you really want something big, and this is great as we're talking about the new year, right? If you know there's something really, really, really big that you want this year, really asking yourself, what fears are hiding underneath this that may be blocking me without even realizing it from achieving that or receiving that? And really thinking about that. Number 8. It's okay to let go of friends, lovers, and even family members if they are not being a good influence on your life. People sometimes need space to grow and evolve, and the right ones will always come back around. And I really love writing this one because this is something that this year I had to take some space from a dear, dear friend of mine for a little while. But it was so incredibly important because I recognized that I was on my own growth path, she was on her own growth path, and there was still so much love for each other, but our lives weren't syncing in the ways that felt nourishing to me and nourishing to her. And instead of making it this big drama and cutting her out of my life, we just both agreed that we just needed to have a little space from each other of connecting and talking and sharing our lives. And later this year, we reconnected and were able to grow and deepen our friendship on a whole nother level that we wouldn't have been able to do if we had tried to just kind of stick through it and grit through it. And so that's really this lesson here, is that it's okay to let some of these people go out of your life, either temporarily or for good. And because at the end of the day, it's really about your soul's journey and making sure that you're keeping that sphere of influence of people in your life that are lifting you up and supporting you in the ways that you need. And if someone isn't able to do that for you, or you're not able to do that for them, it's okay. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that there's some pullback, right? And that's completely okay. So think about anyone in your life that maybe there's been some tensions with, and just maybe, recognize that maybe there's just some breather space that needs to happen right now. And trust and know that if it's really going to be right for both of you to come back together, you guys will make that effort down the road, as long as there's love in your hearts. Number 9, the reason I haven't, this is funny, the reason I haven't been able to get lean and sculpted as I've wanted to has been way less to do about exercising more and way more to do with eating more protein. Oh my God, this has been such a big one. So I pride myself on being very active and pretty fit, and I'm like very healthy and eat pretty well, but I've had this just stubborn belly fat that just won't go away. It's just like a little bit of just extra little pudge, and it's really not a big deal, and I love my body, but I'm just really, really wanting to like get to that point of just beauty and highest potential for my body. And I've been really struggling with trying to figure out and dial it in for a long time. And I finally figured out the secret, or I think what is the secret is just eating more protein. And for the longest time, I realized I've been really protein deficient. Even though I eat a good amount of food, we need way more protein than we think we do. Like I am eating probably half the protein that I think I need to do. So if that's something that you're like curious about, I'm happy to talk about it more with you. It's been a really beautiful journey to like explore my health more and go on this journey of like really getting to take my body to the next level as much as I'm taking my soul and my mind to the next level. So number 10, when I take time to meditate and be in nature, I instantly shift my mood by 180 degrees. And this is just enough said. Like nature is a miracle. It really is. And it drops you into that place of your heart like nothing else in meditating. So if you haven't had some time in nature lately, I highly recommend getting out into nature and just breathing in the air, really appreciating this brand new energy, this brand new life, and sending some love out to the trees. 11, life is a beautiful dance between flow and discipline. Too much flow and you have no structure, so things can't have strength or power, but too much discipline and we don't make space for fun and ease. We exert too much control. Life is a steady balance of both. And I love this. And I even posted a diagram a while ago between, it was like a Venn diagram that had flow and discipline, or what was it? Yeah, flow, discipline, I don't know, I'll show it another time, but I really have found that to be a beautiful balance in dance, and it really is kind of a blend of masculine and feminine energies as well, which is all that I teach about and talk about as well, is really you can't have one without the other. You really need to have both. You need to have the discipline within yourself, and you need to have the flow and the abundance and just that radiant light energy as well. And lots of times I see women either being too much in the one camp or too much in the other camp, and neither one is going to get you where you want to be. You really need to have a good balance of both. So if you're finding yourself struggling with that, of either having the strength, needing more of the strength because you're too flowy and too in your feelings and too just kind of like getting lost in the days, then maybe you need to bring a little bit more discipline and structure into your life and more of that masculine energy. But if you're feeling like you're way too much in the control, the overthinking, the over chatter, the just trying to be strong, then it's probably time to infuse some more feminine flow and dance and play and connection to feelings and emotions. So reach out to me if you want to learn more about either of those, because that's something actually I just might as well tell you guys, I'm planning on opening up the next round of the Attraction Academy coming here in the next few weeks, where we're going to be deepening into exactly this. And this is a beautiful container I've been running for years. It's a very intimate sisterhood community, coaching community, that I take 4 lucky ladies for a 8-week period, and I teach you all the principles of what it really takes to relax into love and really connect into your feminine energy from a place of strength. And from that place, this is where we really step into that radiance and that goddess, that queen energy that men just cannot get enough of. And we do a lot of work around boundary setting, around managing our emotions, or around communicating our feelings, and really building intimacy. So if that's something that you'd like to get more information about, I'm going to be opening up my calendar for enrollment calls this coming next few weeks, and we can kind of chat and see if this is a good fit for you. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to be opening this up again for the new year. Every time I run these Attraction Academies, women just come out the other side just like so transformed. It's so beautiful. So, side note. Number 12, expectation kills flow. Expectation. I have been really building up a beautiful relationship with expectations, because I recognize from my past, I used to put really high expectations on other people and on myself. And I still put high expectations on myself, but I've really been I'm trying to do a lot better of a job of just letting go of needing to have high expectations on others, because when we put expectations on others, we end up putting a lot of pressure on people, and we end up setting ourselves up for disappointment. And there's a difference between expectations and standards, right? We definitely need to have standards, but we don't want to be holding people to expectations that they don't even know exist. And that's the difference, right? Standards are more values-based. Expectations are usually random things that we think about that we're not actually telling them about. And so we're just setting them up for failure in that moment, right? So if you're dating a new guy and you have really high expectations that he's gonna call every day, and that he's gonna, be ready to meet your family in week 2 and all these kinds of things, and he has no idea that this is what you're expecting, then you're going to be ending up being disappointed when he doesn't follow through on those things, and he's going to end up being like, whoa, where is this coming from? I had no idea, right? So really just starting to let go of those need for expectations. Expectation kills flow. Really big learning lesson from 2020. Number 13, the obstacle is the way. And I actually read a whole book on this by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. And I've been noticing that as obstacles come forward for me, instead of trying to move around them, I'm really trying to use them, similar to the fear example, like I said earlier, really use them as an opportunity to lean into the obstacle and see what that obstacle has to teach me, and really learn from that obstacle. And that has really been guiding me in the way that I want to move my life forward. So I'm no longer afraid of obstacles. I'm no longer afraid of things coming up to me and me needing to go, oh God, I have another challenge, I have another hurdle, ugh, this sucks, right? It's like, oh yay, okay, let's figure this out, right? Let's figure out, why is this here? What is this trying to teach me? What feelings are coming up as I'm going through this obstacle? How can I move through it in a way that maybe I hadn't seen before, right? I had this amazingly powerful visual come through in a meditation a couple weeks ago, where I was seeing this big obstacle right in front of me as this big block, and then all of a sudden the block moved, and it was like a very thin, paper thin obstacle. And when it moved sideways, all of a sudden the dimension showed that it was just a sliver versus being this big block, right? It was just this little sliver, and there was this gaping space for me to move right through it. And when I was able to really drop into that, I was able to just go, wow, okay, the obstacle is the way. So sit with that. Chew on that. Let me know what comes through when you think about that. Number 14, my favorite moments of this year have been to completely take those huge leaps of faith into the unknown and see what happens on the free fall. So kind of going back to the surrender theme here, I never would have thought that being in a place of free fall, and when I say free fall, I'm just saying trusting, just jumping into the unknown and just trusting. I never would have thought that that would have been the moments that I would have enjoyed the most of this year. I mean, in the moment, I did not enjoy it. It was really freaking terrifying. But afterwards, it was incredibly rewarding because I just felt so invincible and I felt so powerful and I felt so empowered within myself. Like, wow, I can take on anything, right? Anything that life throws me, I'm going to know that I'm going to be okay and I'm going to handle it. And they ended up being some of the most beautiful moments of my life from this last year. One of them being, I remember we're in Montana and we're still on this like travel, nomadic lifestyle. We hadn't settled down anywhere. We didn't know where we were going to live. And I'm in this, we stayed in this horse stable that was converted into a little bed and breakfast, but it was literally just like bunk beds in a horse stable in Montana, in Glacier National Park. Really random experience. And here I am in this bunk bed, covered underneath the covers, crying, just crying, because I'm so terrified of not finding a home. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way, just feeling displaced, feeling like you don't have a home. I'd never felt that way, and I have a home. I've got parents, they live in California, it's great, but like I was ready to really settle down and find my home, and I couldn't find a place in the United States that really felt like my home yet. And I was just feeling lost and just like we were never going to find a place that we could really call our home. And it was again in one of these moments where we just had to take a huge leap of faith, and we had this opportunity pop up with Airbnb with this random little studio in Portland, and we're like, I don't really want to go to Portland, but let's just go there because we don't really have anywhere else to go. And we just kind of like went there for a few weeks just to kind of land for our next spot to figure things out. And then it was in that moment of just leaping and trusting and driving all the way from Montana to Oregon that we realized, wow, actually, I think this is our home. And now it's like this beautiful moment where I get to say, wow, that was such a fun moment of 2020 where this really was that leap of faith that brought me to my place of absolute joy of where I am today. So I think the biggest theme here of me talking about this is just trusting and appreciating the unknown and the uncertainty of 2020, and just knowing that on the other side, in hindsight, it always works out in your favor. It always works out in your favor. Number 15, make uncertainty and uncomfort zone your friend, and you'll forever be at ease. Make uncertainty and uncomfort zones your friend, and you'll forever be at ease. And that kind of wraps up what I was talking about in this last one too. Number 16, you can litter box train a puppy. This is a really random one that I learned from this year. The puppies can be litter box trained, which I only thought cats could be litter box trained, but puppies can do it too. And my little pup is having such an amazing time. He's like, it's so cute to watch him. Like, he'll just whimper a little bit when he needs to go potty, and then he'll just go to his litter box, just do his thing, come back out from the bathroom. Like, he's like a little person. It's so freaking cute. And it saves me a lot of energy from having to go down 29 floors, out into the freezing rain and cold, and then back up every hour. So great learning lesson. If you're ever gonna get a puppy, try out litter box training. 17, we are all energetic beings having a human experience. And this one I'm just going to leave it at that because it's very much the theme of what I talk about. We are so much more than just these little human beings. We are truly divine, spiritual, angel natures. And I really feel myself more than anything coming into that home space of that, of knowing that I have this beautiful angel quality about me, this beautiful radiance, this beautiful light that women really just want to receive and want to be in that energy. And I'm here to be there for you and to hold that for you. And I think a lot of the coaching programs that I provide, it's really like it's a nurturing container for you to feel like you can relax, like you can truly be held for a moment when maybe things don't feel good and things don't feel right and you need someone to lean on. I get to be that person for you, to just hold you and have that person to lean on and nurture you through whatever it is that you're going through to get you back out the other side, and like coming into the cocoon and then blooming you out as the beautiful butterfly that you are. That's really what I see myself being. And I'm so excited to continue to just expand these containers and hold space for more women to be able to come into my cocoons and rebloom and reblossom. So if you're feeling at all like that's something that you're wanting this year, please reach out. Don't be a stranger. I'm here. I am opening up my calendar, like I said, for calls so we can get on a call and just get to know each other and hold space for you and hear about how I can really help you. So I love that. I love that one. And then just a few more here. 18, the ego mind will never be satisfied, so it's better not to even try to play its game. Let the heart lead. Really, really important. And this is a big one that the Course in Miracles talks a lot about, right? The ego mind versus the higher self. And the ego mind is just, it's always on the lookout. It's always on the lookout for comparing, for not feeling good enough, for, it just has this filter, this little lens that's just always out there to just try and make you feel like shit, basically, with the mask of it's trying to protect you. So when you start to really realize this and understand this and know this for what it is, you can start to recognize, I don't want to play that game anymore. It's not getting me where I want to go. It's not protecting me. It's not helping me. It's actually doing the opposite. And you need to go sit in your corner and have a timeout, right? That's really what I've been starting to do and help women to do, is just like get that ego in check so that you can actually let your heart lead and move forward from a place of ease without all the just from the ego. So a really, really big one. It will never be satisfied. Number 19, gratitude is the currency for miracles. And there's a big fad going on with gratitude right now. And I know it can be kind of cliche to be like, oh, just be appreciative, be grateful and stuff. But it's so much more than that. Like living in a state of gratitude really is the currency for miracles. And this has been something I'm just continuing to try and deepen into more and more in my practice as well, of not even needing to chase so much in the external world anymore to find that gratitude, but to truly just be grateful for the everyday moments. And it's harder than it feels, you know? It's easy to be grateful when you're gallivanting along Europe and you're like, wow, life's so great, I'm eating baguettes by the Eiffel Tower. But like, when you're just really sitting at home and you're really just here in this moment and maybe, you know, things are challenging, still finding those moments of gratitude is a whole nother work in itself. But that's really when you start to attract so much more positivity and so much more light and so many more opportunities into your life. And you become a very more magnetic person when you are in that frequency of gratitude. And the last one to wrap up is love is the answer for everything. It is. Love is God essence in its purest form. Love is what we are created of. Love is what we give. Love is what we want to receive. Love is everything. And I am just so grateful to be able to call myself a love coach and to help women to drop into that state of love within themselves. Because when we are in that place of radiant love for everything, for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, for nature, for random people on the street, everything flows. Everything flows. It's when we block ourselves off from that place of love that things start to get sticky and challenging. And so just knowing that coming back to that place of love is the answer, and that is all that you need. So with that, my lovelies, I hope this has been great for you. We'll wrap it up for now. Comment below on some of the ones that stood out to you or that you agree with, or ones that you've also learned this year, or comment below on ones that you're curious about that you've actually been learning for yourself from 2020. I'd love to hear from them as well. And once again, if this is something that you'd like to explore deeper with, if you're curious about the Attraction Academy, feel free to reach out. I'll send a link for my scheduler as well. And we can get on a call and just kind of chat a little bit more. But I hope you have a beautiful start to your New Year's. It's so great to ring in the New Year with all of you. And I've got some fun, exciting stuff coming this year your way. So stay tuned, my lovelies. Mwah. Talk soon.